Flying Circus. The fourth series of Monty Python ended last night, and tonight I'm talking to three Python regulars, Graham Chapman, Terry Gilliam, and Terry Jones. Alas, Michael Padden hasn't been able to come along, he's got flu. Anyway, the first Monty Python program went out very late one Sunday in October 1969 on BBC One. 5 years on, the group is smaller. John Cleese, he's the tall, mournful one, has left to do other things. And to get a taste of their latest style, here from last night's program is a send-up of the documentary TV series The Family. Played at the end of the program, and that was a party political broadcast on behalf of the Liberal Party. Terry Jones, 4 series under the belt. Does it become more difficult each time?
Oh, yes, much more difficult. It's getting impossible, actually. But I think we ought to make actually one correction before we get any further. Michael doesn't actually pronounce his name Palin. I'm not quite sure how he does pronounce it.
Never
Palin?
Perhaps you'll ring us up in the course of the
Yes, maybe, yeah.
Palin, yes. But you were saying it's getting more difficult than possible, but you're going to have another series anyway.
Well, we hope so, yes, if everybody agrees to it.
Actually, of course, Michael doesn't often have to pronounce his name. It's other people that have to.
It is, actually, yes.
Perhaps he should change it. I think it's a ridiculous name.
So, Mike, if you're at home there with the...
Foreign name,
it's an anagram of lapin.
Lapin, yes.
French for rabbit.
Rabbit.
Which is probably why he's not here. Rabbits are rather fearful creatures.
Myxomatosis, of course, is always a danger. What do you think of the last series, Graham?
Which series, this one?
The last series on Monty Python.
Monty Python? It was, I thought it was quite good, but then, of course, I was in it.
You paid.
What?
You paid well, too.
Did it? Yes, it did, yes.
Now you know what happened to Graham's money.
Critics were a bit harder, weren't they? Terry Gilliam. Soft G or hard?
Right, half G.
The critics were a bit rough on you, weren't they?
I don't know, they seem to mix. I mean, they changed their mind as they went on. I've never seen a show that's sort of reviewed weekly, and they changed their mind. At the beginning, they didn't like it. And by the third show, they thought it was really very good.
I think the critical faculties obviously got completely...
But didn't you change the style a bit? You started with a stronger theme than the first two.
Well, I mean, really, we just written all the shows, and it just happened we recorded them in that order. We hadn't specially taken on a special style or anything, and it just happened they had to go out in that order because they were being put out so closely onto when we'd recorded them that there was no choice in what went out first.
I think it's very hard to judge in a way whether the first show was less funny than the third show, or whether it was audience sort of anticipation.
Yeah.
I think if we'd done 13 programs, in fact, the more thematic ones would have blended in and wouldn't have stood out as being thematic. You see, I don't really ever really tend to do thematic shows, but this is the way it was billed in Radio Times and everywhere else. We just write what we can write. You know.
One of the critics made the point that you really are on a hiding to nothing in a way because of what's called the comic memory. I mean, the point being that people remember all the very good parts of the previous series, and so no new series can ever come up to the memory itself. There's a certain amount of truth.
Yes, I suppose there is. It's like people forget the painful memories. They forget that in our first 3 series there were some really dreadful shows. They forget those, they just remember the good bits. It's like pain. You forget that, you remember the happy bits because that's a part of your mind tells you to. I'm sure that happens in comedy particularly.
The pain, presumably, of doing this one is more recent, is it? Well, there's some painful moments.
No, not really in doing them, was there? But,
this series was very enjoyable to do, as a matter of fact. I mean, I'm not just sort of saying that. It was more enjoyable, I think, than previous series have been. I can't think why. Must be some reason.
Well, anyway, let's go back to the beginning, to the very first program, and you can see how quickly the team established their own insane style. So here it is, the day when Picasso did a painting while riding a bicycle.